Around October or November of 2021, I instigated a game that I'd play with various friends, acquaintances, delivery drivers, etc. I'd say to them, guess what I'm going to do next, as in my next project. What made this such a bloody great game was the way it put people on the spot. I'd watch them be worried about saying the wrong thing, but intrigued nonetheless. Nobody else has got this, I'd say, raising the stakes. Is it an album of Joy Division songs? No, it's not. Look, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a clue. It's a show. Of course, a show. Oklahoma? No. My Fair Lady? No. Carousel? No. Oh, I know, you're going back to Les Mis, only this time as Valjean. No. Enthusiasm is waning. They're wondering what to make for dinner. Is that lasagna safe to reheat? I'm going to need a clue, they say. Is it a British musical? Yes. Is it by Andrew Lloyd Webber? Yes. Confidence returning. And it's played in the West End? It has. Oh, God, I know. Evita. And you're playing Evita. No. Joseph? No. And then the penny drops. They roll their eyes as though to say, how could I have been so stupid? Of course, they sigh. You're going back into the Phantom of the Opera, playing the Phantom. No. What then? Well, I'd say. We will, of course, be talking about aspects of love in great detail, but for now, here's a quick bluffer's guide to be getting on with, just so that we're all on the same page. An Andrew Lloyd Webber musical that he'd tinkered with since the fag end of the 1970s and written towards the close of the 1980s, Aspects was based on a 1955 novella by David Garnett, a bisexual writer known to his pals as Bunny, thanks to his penchant for wearing a cloak made of rabbit skin. Garnett was a member of the Bloomsbury Group, a band of writers and thinkers, including Virginia Woolf and E.M. Forster, who had what you might call a liberated approach to relationships and sexuality, so much so that Dorothy Parker once remarked that they lived in squares, painted in circles, and loved in triangles. It was this love triangle sensibility that Garnett brought to his novella. God knows what a novella means, but it's a very short book, and its story begins with starstruck teen Alex, called Alexis in the book, falling in love with older actress Rose. Being devilishly handsome and charming, Alex has no problem persuading Rose to accompany him to a villa owned, but not occupied, by his rich and worldly uncle, George, where they break in, consummate their relationship, and play dress-up with various outfits hanging around. The next thing you know, George turns up and, on seeing Rose, promptly falls in love with her, a feeling that is reciprocated. Alex is miffed, things at the villa end messily, and all three go their separate ways. Cut to 2 years later, when Alex, now a soldier of 19, discovers that Rose has taken up with George. Old feelings between him and Rose are reignited, and from here the web woven becomes even more tangled as bedsheets are ruffled, and at one stage a gun is pulled and Rose is injured. Among the many aspects of love explored is same-sex attraction, as Rose forms a bond with George's former mistress, Julieta, while things take a troubling, and from our perspective vastly more problematic, turn when it becomes clear 12 years later that Rose and George have had a daughter, Jenny, who develops a pash for Alex. Love triangle be damned, Garnett was telling the story of a love pentagon. Heptagon, if you want to include Rose's manager Marcel and her new lover Hugo, which we don't. Andrew's score for Aspects is elegant and genteel, quite a departure from the bombastic and operatic leanings of his previous work, while the lyrics by Don Black and Charles Hart tease out the nuance of the narrative. And it is indeed nuanced. Those anticipating what they assumed to be the usual 1980s Lloyd Webber fare were as disappointed as those who had expected a wide-eyed Rodgers and Hammerstein celebration of the strength and power of love. Not a bit of it. This was about the fickleness and frailty of love. Love not as a healing force, but as a destructive one. It was, in a word, downbeat.